Chapter 13, Economic Challenges. How much can we reduce unemployment, inflation, and poverty? These three challenges are challenges that you'll find in every single economy. Every country across the world, they're facing these three types of challenges. And there's different ideologies and ideas on how to fix the problem when it comes to these. In this chapter, we're going to be talking about each of these challenges. And the first challenge we're going to look at is unemployment. What are the causes of unemployment? In this section, we're going to talk about different types of unemployment so we know which ones we're talking about. How do they come up with the unemployment rate? How do they calculate it? And is it possible to have full employment? So we're going to start with the first type of unemployment known as frictional unemployment. This one occurs when people take time to find a job. So this could be, an example would be a student that just graduated from college. They are frictional unemployment. They are looking for work, but they are unable to find it maybe at this time, or they just want to make sure they have a perfect job. A second thing could be is that maybe someone stepped out of employment for a while to maybe raise kids or take care of a family member or whatever that might be. That could also be something that we would find as frictional unemployment and then coming back into the workforce. It could also be something as someone returning to the workforce, or maybe someone leaves a job where they don't like, and so they're looking for other work. They quit their job and they're looking for other work. So frictional, it's usually pretty optional when it comes to this type of employment, looking for certain career paths for frictional unemployment. The next one is structural. This one occurs when the worker's skills do not match the jobs that are available at that time. And there's quite a few reasons for this type of unemployment. This is not the type of employment that you want to be in. This means that your skills and your human capital is outdated and it doesn't match what is out there. So it's so important right now as a junior or senior that you look at your career path as, is my type of job going to be around for years to come? Or is there enough jobs for me to have an opportunity to work in this field? Now, you can never go wrong with doing something that you love to do, because when you do that, you have more desire and passion to be successful at it. But at the same time, there is a realistic part of that has to take place as well. So structural is that the skills do not match the workforce. So the cause could be a new technology. Your grandparents probably wouldn't be able to do a data entry job very well as fast as you could do. Or a social media position. They would have a hard time probably doing something like that because of the new technology. Discovery of new resources. This could take place. Before the discovery or use of oil, we used whale oil. Well, once we are able to find this natural resource, whale oil went non-existent. Those workers were then considered to be structural. Changing consumer demand. Maybe it's something that people no longer want, and as a result, there's layoffs, and maybe the type of work you're in, there's not enough demand for it anymore. So I would say maybe the printing industry, the newspaper industry, the production of it, there's just not as much jobs anymore in that, because there's just people are reading more online and don't want to have a hard copy of something. Lack of education, of course, is always a big risk there as well. That's why education is pushed so hard, because we don't want students or individuals or citizens to have lack of education that's causing them not able to get a job. And then globalization. This is competing with other markets. We've talked about being offshored or outsourced, and part of that is competition, globalization. In the world we live in today, it's very competitive. So you got to take the time to update yourself and your skills. You constantly have to be learning. There's never a point where you stop. So structural, that's the type of employment where worker skills don't match what is available. The next one is seasonal. Now this type of employment is going to take place, and depending on the seasonal work. Migrant workers, we have quite a few workers that come across the Mexico border, especially during certain seasons throughout the year, they are considered seasonal workers. They have harvest schedules. It could be a season that is based around vacations. Usually around the end of November to December, a lot of retail stores are hiring seasonal workers because they expect to have a good amount of customers in the store getting ready for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. Another one could be based on other weather. In Minnesota here, a lot of the ski shops, snowboard shops, ski hills are seasonal. They're based on how the season's doing. And depending on how the season goes will determine how this type of employment will work. So seasonal work. So sometimes businesses try to find where they can be multiple seasons. Maybe they run a lawn service during the summertime, and during the wintertime they do a plow service. So seasonal unemployment. Cyclical unemployment. This is this would be related to how the economy is doing. So if the economy is in expansion, like we looked in our business cycle, that means cyclical unemployment is very low. Now, if we're in a recession or depression, that usually means cyclical unemployment is going to be very high. So this one is tied into the economy and how things are going there. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the skills are. If the economy is not doing very well, the jobs are just not there. Now, each month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has to put an unemployment number together. And it's quite simple on how they come up with this unemployment rate. They simply take the amount of people that are unemployed divided by the amount of people in the labor force, and they get this number that they have. So for instance, if we had 7 million people that were unemployed and we only had 100 million civilian labor force, we divide 7 by 100, we get 0.07. We can multiply that by 100 to change it to a percent, and our unemployment rate would end up being 7%. So again, not too difficult when they come up with this number each month. This number is a big one for especially during campaign years. So right now, with campaigns going on, this is a number that politicians and competitors look at each month to see how the economy is doing. There is something called full employment, and this is possible. It is possible to have an economy that is full employment. And this means that there is no or very little cyclical unemployment. Usually with this rate, this usually means that the unemployment rate is anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6%, somewhere in there. That means we're not in a recession. We're probably in expansion still, and we have not hit peak in our business cycle. So full employment, no cyclical unemployment. The last term for unemployment is underemployment, and this is working at a job which one is overqualified or working part-time when full-time work is desired. So underemployment, overqualified. This is something that not as much, but is still around for our graduates that are graduating from college. They are overqualified for a position and no one wants to hire them. Usually this takes place when, especially when the older, if anyone in their upper 40s and 50s get laid off or fired, they're going to have a hard time getting a job somewhere because they are overqualified. And the reasons behind that is that they have so much experience that companies do not or cannot afford to pay what would rightly be desired by the person applying for the position. So, underemployment means overqualified when it comes to a certain position. Sometimes, though, you just have to take what's available to you. As you know, I do a part-time job a couple days a week where I deliver food. I'm a delivery food guy. I am overqualified. I have a degree, but you know what? You just got to do what you got to do, and it's temporary, of course, and that's the desire, but you do what you need to do to provide. So when it comes to underemployed, overqualified position. Discouraged worker. This is someone that has desired work but who's just given up. Nothing matches what they're looking for, or there's nothing available to them. So, discouraged worker. So, those are the basic types of unemployment that are out there. And if you have any questions about this Chapter 13, Section 1, please let me know.